Good morning. I'm Mr. Muneer, Tabarak, teaching grade 12 bilingual. Welcome to Tabarak Private School educational platform. We have to thank our respected chairman, Mr. Yunus Al-Rahbi, for connecting the school with the students through this educational bridge. My dear grade 12 students, today I'm going to give you some tips on unseen poetry. As you know, there is one section in grade 12 bilingual second semester exam. Unseen poetry means a new poem or an extract from a long poem that you have never seen, and then one question. Here you need to answer this question for 10 marks, should be around 160 words. Let's see how to deal with a poem. Here is a poem. This is a very interesting poem named The Journey by Mary Oliver. So you get a poem like this one and one question. For example, how does the poet show her determination in the poem? Describe how either the imagery or language of the poem contributes to her expression. Write at least 160 words. When you get a question like this one, a problem that many students face is they usually summarize the poem and they get 0 or out of 10, just 2 marks only. So a summary will never give you mark. You need to address the question. So how to address the question? First thing that you have to understand, you need some evidence and you need some points to talk about this topic. So the most important thing is determination. That is the topic. That is a key word in the question. So we need to find evidence related to determination. We need to find some points related to determination, some literary devices like simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole related to determination. Then explain it in our own words. So let's see. This is point, evidence, explain. We call it PEE. So the first step that you have to do is underline at least 5 lines that talk about determination. At least 5 lines that talk about determination. We are going to use these 5 lines as an evidence. Then the next one, at least 3 or 4 devices like metaphor, personification, hyperbole, which show determination. Then circle the imagery like audio imagery, auditory imagery, or visual imagery that show determination of the poet. Then underline the vocabulary, words and phrases related to determination. Once you do this task, half of your job is done. Then you only need to explain it in your own words. Let's go through the poem again and find some lines, some devices, imagery, and vocabulary to address the question. The title of the poem is The Journey. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you get a title like The Journey? There are several types of journey that we may find, like a trip to a place, or a lonely journey, which is a solitary journey. That is your aim. Means to accomplish your aims, you need to go through several tasks and reach your goal. Other one is a spiritual journey, which is your journey to paradise, So there are different kinds of journeys. Now let's see, what is it? One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. See, from the first line itself, it gives us an idea. Using past tense, knew, had to do, and began. So you started your journey. You started your journey, though the voices around you kept shouting. Who might be that voices? People around you were shouting, but you did not listen. Their bad advice. Though the whole house began to tremble, even the house started shaking, trembling. Still, you didn't listen, because your journey is important. So your aim or your goal is important. So you started your journey. And you felt the old tug at your ankles. You felt like someone was dragging you behind. Meant my life, each voice cried. So the people were crying for help, to fix their life when your life is not even fixed. But you didn't stop. When you take the first part, which are the lines that you think that show her determination? There are several lines that show her determination, like what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting, the whole house began to tremble. You felt the old tug at your ankles. All these lines show her determination. Since the theme is determination, there are several lines that you may find. Then, you knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers. The wind was very powerful to destroy with its stiff fingers at the very foundation of your family. Means the root of your family was destroyed or broken. But you didn't stop. Their melancholy, their extreme sadness was even terrible, but you didn't stop. So here, these lines can be taken. There are several lines. It was already late enough and a wild night. Wild night. And the road full of fallen branches and stones. They all show the obstacles or the problems on your way. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn. When you left their voices, their advice, stars began to burn. You could find the stars through the sheets of clouds. Means they were hidden by the clouds. So these clouds means the problems or the obstacles. They were hiding your goal or your aim or your star. And there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own. So there is a new voice. Whose voice is it? It is your voice. So you never knew that you had to listen to your voice. In the past, you only listened to others' voice. Now you found that there is a new voice, which is your own voice, that kept you company. That is the only friend that you have. As you strode, you walked deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing that you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. So, you can do only one thing, which is to save your life, and no one else can save your life. It is you who has to take the decision to do something and save your life. So here the lines like left their voices behind, stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds. These are all lines that you can take. Then when you come to devices, when you want to take simile, metaphor, there are many items, but you need to take them and connect with the topic determination. Let's see. Now, the whole house began to tremble. It's a personification. So this personification has helped the poet to present her determination. The old duck is a metaphor for the problems or the obstacles or someone who prevents you from your goals. Though the wind plied, there is again personification. At the very foundations means the root of the family. Wild night, a road full of fallen branches and stones. These are all metaphors for the obstacles in your life and the problems that may come and block your way. Stars began to burn. Stars are the metaphors here, which symbolizes hope or your goal. Sheets of clouds means the problems or the block that you had on your way that kept you company, a voice that kept you company. This is again a personification. As you store deeper and deeper, there is determined is repeated, safe is repeated. So these repetitions also. When you take vocabulary, there are several words like terrible, burn, stout, deeper, determined. There are many words that you can take which show her determination. Now, these are the lines that I have taken. Though the voices around you kept shouting, though the whole house began to tremble, but you didn't stop. Though the wind plied with its stiff fingers, though their melancholy was terrible, determined to do and determined to save. All these lines show her determination. Then the literary devices. These are the devices that we discussed. Though the whole house began to tremble is personification. There is metaphor, personification, and the wind plied with its stiff fingers. The road full of fallen branches and stones. They are metaphors for the obstacles. Stars began to burn. Star is a metaphor for hope. Through the sheets of clouds, metaphor for the obstacles that kept you company is a personification. Voice is personified. Determined is repeated. Do or save is repeated. Imagery. Though the voice around you kept shouting, this is auditory imagery. Though their melancholy was terrible, a wild night and road full of fallen branches and stones is a visual imagery that the readers get clear image in their mind. Then vocabulary, like all these words can be taken to talk about determination, tremble, mend, terrible, pride, melancholy, recognized, deeper, determined. This is just a summary of the poem. This poem by Mary Oliver tells us the emotional and mental turmoil someone endured to end one unhealthy life and begin a new, different world. This is the problem that all of us face. We do not know how to start a new life. When we think of our past, we feel like we haven't done anything to reach our goal. It can be our life goal or it can be our spiritual goal of paradise. So we need to change and listen to our own voice to reach our goal. Hope the lesson was helpful. Thank you all. Thank you for listening. Homeworks and other activities are downloaded on Moodle on Tabarak website. If you have any inquiry, email to Tabarak Private School.